Good morning, future self. Air quality is back up to 172. Boo. But hey, at least the campfire is now 66% contained, which means that soon it will be 67%. I was looking at the weather report, and it looks like Wednesday we will get lots of rain. So hopefully that will clean out the air and help put out the fire, and maybe also cause mudslides, which would be bad, but it is a thing. So let's see.
Get the dog! Get the dog! I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Oh, I got it! Whoosh. Get it! Get it! Yes!
Hey, future self. I was just sort of working in my notebook on some stuff, and I printed out the thumbnail archive of all of my work since 2007. And it's kind of interesting. There are themes, of course, that recur. And some years I do much more work than others, but I just want to go through these really quick. So the archive started in 2007. That's when I started making my own work and not just sort of practice or copying other artists' work and stuff. And I really started by making hollow skins. These were all crocheted, very large. This was the size of a couch, a love seat, a person. And they were filled with stuffing, obviously, but I thought of them as hollow in the same way that you might think of something filled with air as being hollow, with the molecular accumulation. And these were all sort of models of an invisible disability. And as 2008 went on, I kept that same idea of a hollow sculpture and a skin, and I moved into 3D paper quilting, which is a material that existed before paper quilting is a kind of flat quilting, but I moved it into the three-dimensional forms by experimenting with geometry and more sort of accumulation of parts. And that accumulation from parts has really stuck through all of my work. This is more sort of 3D paper quilting in a much more sort of dynamic way. This piece is quite large, and more of the collaged sculptures, they started to grow holes in them. And in 2010, this is when I started grad school, and I decided to use this sculpture, which was in the 2007, is this sculpture here. I used its guts to make my work, and that was sort of the first time that I had folded in old work into new work. And I used its polyfill, sort of like a plastic, fluffy plastic cotton, and I twisted it into rope, and then I got more interested in twisting plastic and sort of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and speculative fiction. And then 2010 was also the first time I made an entirely digital work, which is a piece called Plain Fake Loading Bar, which is like a generator of loading bars that infinitely generates new loading bars with new colors and new sort of loading behavior. And then in 2011, I created my first sort of big digital piece, which was an unwinnable explorable game that was made from children's book elevation, scientific elevations, made sort of slightly apocalyptic, and there was a character that you could play. There was also an anatomy drawing, and I started making collages of real and virtual images, photographs that all go together, and I got really interested more in anatomy and the body, and that's the year I wrote my antidisciplinary thesis using a lot of ideas from biology and consilience. In 2012 was when I became a professional dancer, which is both a great and a horrible experience. Beyond dance, I was also making collages, experimenting with sort of the textures that different digital tools gave to the work that they made, exploring portraits from the virtual, and these are this series is called Our New Republic, and they were all from a Star Wars game that I was playing with other people. And I continued exploring anatomy through digital and physical collage. 2013, I started exploring that texture I was talking about earlier, how the digital tools leave their texture in the art that they make using Visually Similar. I would put images of my old sculptures into Visually Similar and then create collages out of the images that Google gave me. I was also experimenting with collaging Google Earth, creating lots of GIFs, both from my drawings and from scans of my body. And the scans started back, I think, in 2011. Yeah, these are scans of plastic sculptures that I made, very small plastic sculptures, and then blew up. So that's where the scanning started, and just drawing, scanning for color, creating tons of GIFs that I used in Tumblr, actually, in the layout in a GIF collage. Experimenting with writing and images going together, and also using all the frames of a GIF as like an image itself. Let's see, 2014. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Ooh. Look at that cute mask you got on.
Yeah.
You washed it today.
Yesterday, yeah.
Okay, so 2014 was when I started in VR. This is when I started at LVR. So there was lots of VR pieces. This piece was a site-specific VR piece that used dance and a camera that I built. I think it was actually this camera. I used this camera to film concerts, to film sort of site-specific pieces where you would see the piece and it would be shot in the same place, and playing with sort of breaking space with there. More collages, and my face became more part of the performance. So yeah, there was digital performance, and also experimenting with making stuff exclusively on the phone. This was a talk show that I made while I was at LVR, and then also sort of more drawings and texts. So this is my first VR website in 2015. And in that year I also did sort of AR installations, playing with physical objects overlaid with AR. I made the first ever sort of VR animation that was 2D animation, or that was a style anyway that was 2D animation, but it had 3-dimensional depth. I developed the way of doing that. And then this was AR installation very similar to this one, but actually this one was made entirely with kids. It was like an educational project. This is a VR collage that I took sort of like you would make a vlog, but instead of vlogging, I made sort of scans of all the places that I was in, and then constructed a video out of those collaged things. And I did a ton of work on VR cinematography, and I made a daily. I think that was the year I made the dailies, the video dailies. It might have been the next year that I started it. Another sort of VR collage video, more collage videos, and then just more GIFs and drawings to continue that practice, and writing. And then 2016 had tons of projects in it. AR performance pieces, VR videos. Oh, this is where the daily started in 2016. I did an entire year making daily VR videos. I worked on publishing spherical cinematography. This is a VR video piece, and also performance piece, sort of performance documentation. And so a lot of the work here is like, I did site-specific AR and VR. I did performance with AR and VR, so technological performance. I made zines. I made AR performance documentation videos and live AR and VR creation videos. And I continued my experiments with phone-made things and collage. And this is the first year I started working with AI experiments and using AI to sort of manipulate my face. Unfortunately, I haven't so far included any of my clothing that I've made in the archive, but I do want to get that all in here. But in 2017 was the first time, at least according to the archive currently, that the hollow skins came back, even though I consider my clothing stuff also hollow skins. But I continued sort of the theme of working in the phone, making things with the phone, and documenting digital performance. This piece was drawing on phones, performing with phones, continued AR and VR performance documentation, and then these for all sort of the VR research that I did that year. Video collage, performance and video collage, and then paper collage. And then here, this is Masking Machine, the performance, and this is the Invisible Sculpture performance. So these are both AR performance pieces, sort of investigating, again, that texture of the tool and how we can use those tools to sort of reveal invisible things to ourselves. These are both also AI pieces. At the beginning of the year, I finished, which is these three, and these are all AR drawings that I did at an artist residency. And those drawing videos sort of let me document performance while also making sort of AR sculptures, which are also sort of drawings. It was a really interesting experience. And some of them are sort of faked, where I made the videos as though they were real. All of this is available on the channel, by the way. This is a piece called Making the Bed, where there are 50 different beds that you can go to. They're all different sort of people's environments, and you get to experience all these different sleeping environments. And then this piece is Amnesia Diaries, experimenting with daily videos again. This is the second time I've done daily videos. So I was just going back through my archive to sort of think about like the themes and recurring practices and stuff that have been in my work since the beginning of 2007, over 11 years ago, when I started that, sort of really documenting my own work of what I thought of as my own work. So yeah, that's the first 10 years. We are becoming experts of all of the different air quality maps on the internet. This one is called Purple Air, and it's like crowdsourced, so you can get your own sensor and add it. So this one's cool because you can see sort of all over the city, all of the different numbers. 181, 187, 191, not good. It is not good.